Okay, thank you all for coming. We have a few presentations, first of which will be John Riley, who is the coordinator of our black fly control program. Want to come up with that one? Bat flies. If we had enough bat, we wouldn't need you.
Yeah, I know. So the black flies this year did not read the manual. They're out the first week of May instead of the last week of May. But the good news is we've got the first round almost completed. Even though we were kind of off to a late start, we had a couple people with medical issues at the end. Basically, we didn't have a full crew until the middle of April. So what we've done is we've just put off doing paperwork basically and just done field work. So we're all about a month behind the paperwork. The only thing we have left to treat is about a day worth of work down towards Wilmington at the edge of the area. And then some other areas that are above 2,800 feet. So they stay pretty cold. So we should be good to go with that. Went out to the golf courses today. There was really no flies around in the outlet. There was a few, but not much. So I know you guys got a big agenda today. I don't have a big presentation or anything. I just wanted to check in. So is there any questions or anything or concerns?
My question is, are the black flies that are out now, they're not biting?
The males come out first and they don't bite. So only the females bite.
Will an equal amount of females come out?
I can't guarantee it. We'll see. I don't really know what the ratio is, to tell you the truth, but yeah, I would bet on that. Yeah.
And there's no way of determining where we are. Are we ahead of the hatch? Are we not ahead of the hatch?
We're ahead of the hatch. The first round is almost completed.
Correct.
So that means, so there are places where we're going back second round on the golf course out of Lucy's. That's been treated the second time already because that's kind of a hot spot. Any place where you have an impoundment in full sun. So we're starting second round in some of those. So yeah, we're ahead of the hatch basically.
Do the rain throw a wrench into like the 2 weeks of constant rain?
Not really.
No.
It kind of helps because it keeps the temperature down. You know, once the temperature starts to rise, then they start to pop out. So, and another thing that helped us, we didn't, for like the fourth year in a row, we didn't have to use snowshoes. Generally, you know, in April, we're right, Dave? Dave did this years ago when we used to have real winters. So, so we got a really good crew this year. They're really dedicated. I'm kind of proud of what they've done so far. So I'm hoping for a good season.
Yeah, thank the crew. I get a chance to see them coming and going.
Yeah.
In the morning, I see them, and then in the evening, they're
Yeah.
completely different people.
Yeah.
They put some miles on, I'll tell you.
They've been really dedicated this year. I told them at the beginning, I said, we're starting late, so you gotta catch up, and they did. So now we just gotta catch up on the paperwork.
And John, you had mentioned last year that a lot of times you do your job, but we still end up with a lot because of the west. Are they still not treating west of here?
So,
Doing anything?
yeah, I talked with MJ earlier this year and she said she was gonna try to talk to some people in Saranac Lake and see if they would ever get a program going. But as far as treating the northwest side of like Moose and Mackenzie Mountain, it's just, I'm not gonna do it.
No. That's not,
It's just, it's not doable, really.
yeah, you had mentioned that, you know, you, with all your efforts in working, but if they're migrating.
Yeah, so it's, and I mentioned it last year, like initially the program was based on the fact that they could fly unaided 2 miles, but
Yeah.
there's been studies that show they can, with the wind, 8 to 10 miles, you know, so we get windy days when there's a lot of flies out. They won't last as long if they blow in. The life cycle is 2 to 3 weeks. So if they're here for 2 to 3 weeks, then they were probably born here. If they were here for a couple of days, then they probably flew in. That's my theory anyway.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah, so,
No, that's what, I mean, that was I presented that last year, so I was hoping maybe something changed, but obviously not.
yeah, again, that area is a little too treacherous, but if Saranac Lake did have a program, it wouldn't hurt.
Right, that's all right.
Yeah, yeah.
The last couple of years were pretty intense. So what, is there any sort of technique or thing that you did adjusted a little bit for this year based on the last 2 years?
There really isn't. We're just scrutinizing some things a little more. We're monitoring a little more. You know, there's places where we're like, okay, we've done this for 20 years and it's worked,
Yes.
but we're starting to look at it differently, looking at streams earlier
Okay,
for second round. And I tried to get the crew started early. What we have to do is just start earlier,
start,
like mid-March.
okay,
Problem is, we did this year and then the stream started to freeze up again, so you can't treat them. But I went to a Black Fly conference this winter, and that's what all the programs all around America are dealing with. It's just the winter ending and then the intense summer coming quicker than it used to.
okay,
So that's kind of what we're dealing with. So we just got to make sure people are here to get it done earlier.
okay,
And yeah, we're just kind of looking at stuff. I'm just kind of scrutinizing things a little more. The area below Lisa G's where used to be a dam,
yes,
you know, that for years wasn't very productive. Now it is. So we're trying not to make assumptions, I guess, is what we're doing.
okay,
Yeah, even though things worked for, you know, many years, we're kind of re-looking at some things,
okay.
you know.
I don't know how to quantify what would be, you would say, a successful sort of treatment. So I don't want to put words in your mouth. What would you, your crew, sort of gauge? What kind of metric would you say that would be, okay, this round was successful? It's a loss, we're just, you know,
So what I do is I'll hike down the Northville Placid Trail. So when I leave at Avery River Road and there's hardly any flies, that's good. And then the further out you get, you notice more. So basically we can tell, like, if we're treating at the outside of an area, we're experiencing a lot of flies, and we come back towards town, we don't. So, you know, I figure if people are golfing in their shorts and t-shirts in the height of black fly season, that's successful. You know, and the last 2 years, that was the case. Even though people complained about flies, there were still people golfing in their shorts and t-shirts. There were still tourists walking around Mirror Lake. Wasn't the greatest coverage we had, because I think because of mostly weather. But you know, and I've talked to some people that don't live here year round, and I think sometimes they also might confuse black flies with other things. There's these things called eye gnats that fly around your eyes. They don't bite, but they get into your eyes and nose and mouth, and they just feed on your mucus, which is really gross. But they're the same size as black flies. I think sometimes people confuse it. I'm not trying to blame them, but
sure.
I think sometimes that. So does that answer your question?
To some extent, yeah, we've had sort of, because everyone, I think, in this room, for the majority, know what it was like, say, 20 years ago, and it was, you couldn't even walk within the village. It was it was
30
30
years.
years, so. Not that old, but anyway,
You're older than
That's old. That's old.
You're getting closer there, Nick, but anyway.
I'm not saying you're that's old, bro.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
you're picking less, public forum to say it, but anyway. Yeah, there's been such a bar set. I was kind of hoping that, we can get back to that sort of.
I'm hoping too, believe me. Yeah. So we're doing everything we can.
Perfect.
Yeah. But they can blow in, so.
Sure.
Yeah. So, any other questions?
Any other?
No?
Great, thank you very much for your time. No, you're fine. Thank you. Leaf check presentations, Mr. Cummings, right, your show.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Preston.
Or formal group.
Yeah, the different one there. Fire tablet.
Is that Derek?
That's there.
Oh, I should have said that then. So this is what our third time presenting, but we've done multiple rounds of leaf presentations. And I'd like to recognize first three fellow members of the Leaf Committee here, MJ Lawrence, Jackie Kelly, and Val Rogers. Just want to say thank you. Great room we have. So this time we awarded roughly, well, there's 15 organizations here to accept their checks. And we amounting to approximately $286,000 to local organizations, nonprofits, municipalities, etc. So what I'll do is I'll call your organization out, who's ever here, come on up, let's get this out. And if you'd like to say something about your project, you can, you don't have to, okay? First organization up is the Adirondack Community Avalanche Project. Oh, right there. Oh. You can say something if you'd like.
I'll just say something cool. My name's Caitlin Kelly. I'm the co-founder of the Adirondack Community Avalanche Project. And this money is gonna help us put in a permanent beacon park, which some of you who are skiers might know about. Basically just a place where people can practice their avalanche rescue skills. For our backcountry skiing community, it's pretty integral to a place where there are people recreating like this place out in the backcountry, and it just allows people to become better at rescuing. Yeah. Thank you.
Next we have High Peaks Farmers Markets. There we go. There you go.
Okay, you set the bar high.
Bad speech.
But if you want to say something.
Thank you again. So for those of you who don't know, we're moving the farmer's market in Lake Placid from the Green Goddess parking lot to the Oval. So thank you to board members for connecting us with the right people to make that happen. We're really excited to be downtown. Our vendors are thrilled. We have tripled the number of people coming to the market this year in terms of vendors. With a lot of variety of local and, I mean, all local, but Lake Placid vendors as well coming. So thank you very much. We appreciate you all and hope to see you there.
Historic Saranac Lake. That's all.
Thank you.
Anyway,
Thank you very much.
Okay, yes.
So thank you. I'm Amy Catania. I'm Executive Director of Historic Saranac Lake. Thank you so much for this. You may have driven through Saranac Lake and seen our big project on the corner of Church and Main, the big red house. We're expanding our museum into that. It's going to be a 2-building museum campus. It opens in a month. So if you've given a donation of any size, which I guess means all of you guys, come to our party in June. We'll have a big open house in July, but it's going to be like a really, an important draw for folks to the Tri-Lake. So we're really excited to have this new venue. So we hope you'll come visit. Thank you.
I do know who's here for this one. Lake Placid Police Department.
Thank you. Just want to thank the board and the LEAP committee. This is going to allow us to fund half of our project to buy a TrueNarc machine. And what that is a device that allows us to almost instantly identify a drug dangerous substance. So for things like an overdose or if we have a suspected drug dealer in custody, we can test that substance roadside and get an immediate result. So it's a big benefit to the community and the police department. So thank you very much.
Lake Placid Volunteer Ambulance Service. We meet again, Larry.
Thank you very much.
You got it, sir.
This is LEAP grant is gonna help us. It's to help to get our stretcher up into the ambulance. So we have a lot of tiny girls that are on their ambulance squad and the people are heavy. They can't lift the person with the stretcher into the ambulance, so this will help them out. And our last LEAP grant we got, it's been used several times. And the police department knows, and we work closely with the police department, so. But what you guys just gave to Chuck will actually help us out too. So thank you very much.
Mercy Care for the Adirondacks. Welcome.
Thank you, board and the LEAP committee. Mercy Care for the Adirondacks has started a garden at the Lake Placid Community Garden. We started it last year. It was our first year. And this year we're looking to enhance it, make it more accessible for the older adults in Lake Placid, in the Lake Placid community. And make it more of a destination garden. They can go and cut flowers and pick vegetables and enjoy it long after they sat there and reminisced.
Yeah.
North Country Community College Foundation.
No. Thank you, Leaf Committee. This is the second gift that we've received for our athletics. This gift is gonna go help do some critical upgrades to the pool, which is used for swim lessons, water aerobics, lifeguard training, critical things that we all need for the North Country with lots and lots of bodies of water. So thank you so much for this, and we are very grateful.
Open Space Institute. No, okay.
I'll take it.
Placid Snowmobile Club. Behind the back.
Behind the back.
The injuries. Yeah. This is, first of all, I'd like to thank the board. I'd like to thank the Leaf Committee and the village and everyone that worked with us on this. What the club is doing is getting a new groomer to be able to groom the rail trail out at Lake Placid here. We had many adventures this past winter with grooming. So we're very excited about it. We just really appreciate it from everybody. Thank you. Shipman Youth Center.
My name is Michael Durham, president of the Youth Center. I also have Adam and Bashana. This is gonna help us remodel our kitchen. It's 25 years old. Want to get a bare sink in there, new stove that Dimitri caught on fire, and a new floor in the and help redo the walls. The LEAP grant has helped us out over the years with replacing the whole front deck area. We got a new ADA ramp in there with a new deck, and we thank you for what you've done.
St. Agnes School.
Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Katie Turner. I'm the principal of St. Agnes School. We want to definitely thank the town board and the LEAF committee. If you have not heard, St. Agnes is opening a pilot infant toddler care program optimistically in the fall. Yeah, thank you guys. And we know it's an overwhelming need in our community, and we're really grateful because of this gift. We have the opportunity to help families who are living and working in North Elba, and helping young families with young children feel like they can maintain their part in this community. So we're incredibly grateful for this generous gift. And applications for the infant toddler program are live on the St. Agnes School website. So should you know anyone with a child under the age of 3 years old, please invite them to check us out and call us to learn more about the program. So thank you guys so much.
The 80K ripple effect.
Thank you. My name is Zach Horrocks. I'm starting a program called the Ripple Effect, and the goal is to get as many local kids access to our water resources, both fishing and any other interests they have. I've grown up here, and I feel that we have one of the most incredible resources in the world, but a lot of people don't have access to it, and I think it's somewhat underserved and underappreciated. So this money is going to go towards getting local kids on the water and getting the right safety gear to do so. Thank you very much.
USA Luge. You got it. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Hi, my name is Yulia. I'm the marketing manager for USA Luge. We recently started a program that's called Tours and Rides. We have a unique facility here in Lake Placid that is the only one in the country that indoor refrigerated facility where we train our starts. And it is open to public, so we are trying to invite elementary school kids to give them a ride and to introduce the sport of luge to our local community. Also, it is a tourist attraction, we are an Olympic sport, so just adding to the Olympic legacy in Lake Placid. So thank you, the board, thank you, the committee, for letting us upgrade our sleds and equipment and just to promote the Olympic sport.
Village of Lake Placid.
Is it fire department or is it just the village?
Village of Lake Placid.
Okay, that would be.
That was her.
Your check.
Thank you to the board and thank you to the Leaf Committee. This money is going to be used for enhancing Peacock Park. We've taken it on the ability to purchase an accessible kayak dock that will be located at the waterfront so that more people can enjoy Mirror Lake. So thank you again.
Village of Lake Placid Fire Department. Yeah, you just stay back until you're done. Stay back till you're done. Okay,
Thank you.
okay.
And this is for the fire department. So what we're doing with this grant is for, we have a lot of electric cars in the area. So this will help with firefighting apparatus and putting out electric car fires. Because they're a whole different bag of whatever you want to call it, used to, but now they'll be, it's all based on safety. So now when the fire department, police get there first, or the fire department, we can put out their fires.
And that's it. That's 15 awards. One person doesn't get a check, but that's their, no, I'm just kidding. So, did you want any more pictures or anything, or good?
I mean, a group picture of my guys. Hard to fit 15 individual pictures on the paper.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You know, however you want them.
Anyone just like group, sorry, about my stuff, but. Yeah, I think like moving towards the corner, that's.
Just like the Grinch. Yeah. Happy birthday, 3 times.
Next time we do this.
Yeah.
I'm in return.
Yeah.
Before the meeting.
Yeah, you know.
Right, Derek? Right there.
Might be a little.
You're right.
Might make
For a little bit.
Want to stand on the table?
Yeah. Right up to you. Fair enough.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we did a little bit. This color is like really inconvenient.
More ways.
Yeah. I know.
Throw down my truck.
Sorry, I'm just gonna
You
get
want
rid
me
of
to
this. That's just the sugar.
This picture's gonna be as long as the presentation.
Yeah.
It's just, it's worthwhile.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta take a bunch in case anyone's blinking.
Just say, close your eyes and open your eyes.
At least they're not standing out in the sun. Cool.
All right.
One of those. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
These made it for you to clear your room out. I know. Jim, you can stay. You can stay for the meeting.
Because then you have to be guys here.
No, I've never tried that. I usually like.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Ours has been more.
Ask Sarah to come up, she wants to house.
I'll come up.
Then she texted me on my mind to get the fish done.
I see. Can I steal this pen for a sec?
Sure, yeah.
Sorry.
What day?
Maybe after school.
Yeah.
Zach, I wouldn't, I wouldn't want to,
The new,
Okay.
new day. We did some of that, like, custom made. We had some.
Thank you.
Seal something,
Yeah,
right?
you're all fine now.
Your charming smile is a big distraction from them. I think we're just an asshole.
All right, let's get moving to our last presentation. Emily, you want to give a brief? Yeah.
My brief overview is that this project is what came before the town board in 2019, I believe, Joe and Ivan. And it was in the ramp up to the World University Games with the intention that this would house the Athletes Village. Obviously, you know, kind of the world fell apart for a moment and that project didn't happen. And Joe can go into detail if he wants of the intricacies of that, but we're here actually here as part of that deal. In 2019, there were restrictions put on the PD So there, a new PD was created, and then the town sponsored a map amendment through the APA. Some of those deed restrictions involved income restricted housing. And so Joe is here to talk to us about that.
Well, first, thank you for your time this evening. We've been working on this for 5 years, pre-COVID, we started. The overall property, 34.5 acres, we did get PD. Zoning for the APA also gave us rezoning on it to Hamlet jurisdiction. We've been approved for 355 units, which comprised of 90 condos and 265 apartments. Right now, what we're proposing is scaling it back to 112 apartments, which is a long-term rental product, 54 townhomes and 108 condominiums. We're doing this because of the numerous challenges we've had with funding the project. This is a more balanced approach. I think it's more balanced for what the community and surrounding area needs in housing. We were sent to you by Darcy to come back to you and discuss.
Yeah, so originally they had gone to the review board because it's something that review board does have to approve, but before they move forward with the review board, that the code office asked to come here first to agree on revisions to deed restrictions or not agree to revisions on deed restrictions so that they can go back and ask for a site plan.
But Darcy and I think Tim Smith mentioned we don't have to go back to them if the architectural elements, heights and all of that don't change. So that we'll do whatever applies.
Yeah, and I'll let Tim and Darcy speak to what they're reviewing.
Initially, we were on their schedule and then they pushed us to the town.
I confirmed that with Darcy today.
So we're seeking the change in the density reduction. By the way, the overall property has been zoned for 12 units per acre, 414 units. We're far less. We're down to 8 units per acre. We're trying to balance again what we feel is a good 3-point approach for our housing needs. The 4 buildings up here in the northwest corner, those originally we had 19 plex buildings. They're now, for more economic scale, they're 28 units per building, still with the below level parking with a center elevator and 2 stair towers. So we get a little bit more efficiency by going from a 19 to a 28 plex. That is the product that will be offered. We have my understanding again is the 10% would apply for the 120% AMI. Emily and I did meet earlier today, and she did clarify, which I need to confirm, that the average median income in Essex County has gone from 74,000 when we originally, started the project. It's up to $92,000 a year in average income, which really helps out the project. So with that said, we've come across a lot of challenges with funding, with joint ventures, with partnerships. The restrictions of the 10% of the 120% AMI, if you can, I'm not confusing you. That's one burden, and then we have the other of it's sort of like bookends. We can't go with our other 90% above 150% AMI. That's perceived with lenders and partners, investors as rent control. And we were really unaware of that when we first started the project, on how difficult it was going to be. We did have a term sheet with Green Bank. That was a funding arm that was created by Governor Cuomo for green projects. Our goal when we initially launched this was to be the best green project in the country as a model. That funding was pulled. And since then, we've had a lot of challenges. The equity requirements have gone from 20% equity to 45%. The interest rates, as you know, have gone from 3.75 to 9% on the expense of borrowing money. So you add all this up with high construction costs and labor, and we have a lot of challenges. We have done some work. Most of the site work has been done on the project. We tried to stay active during COVID. We did asbestos abatement on the 64,000 square foot building. It is now gutted and ready for repositioning. So we come to you tonight with the reduction in density and also if there's any kind of relief at all that you could evaluate or you can look at and consider.
And I'm sorry, I don't know if everyone has the handout from Adrian. Do you guys all have that?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I didn't have it here, but I have a copy somewhere else. So Joe does have a proposal in there. He's offering something for us to
Yes.
think about.
Yes, and you clarified today. Derek, about 6 months ago, gave me something that was antiquated. That for the buyout, if we look at the option of a buyout, where the funds would go into a affordable housing program or managed by. At that time, it was like $62,000 per unit. Well, times 27, it's about $1.6 million and change. Emily brought me up to date that was antiquated. It's actually well over 100,000. So it would make a buyout $3 million. Now, what I want to point out is I believe we're the third company since this was enacted in 2011 that has had to deal with this. The first was our Far Horizon project. The second was Joe Lamb's offering on Whiteface Inn Lane, and now this one. I'd like the board to consider that this is very large. It's a large scale, maybe the largest that might come to the community based upon the zoning and not having wetlands and other constraints. So because of the size and scale, again, look at that and look at a broader picture on what this will do for the community on opening up lower price point housing where those folks can move into this product. So that, of course, $100 million in addition to tax assessment, the creation of 60 to 80 jobs during construction. I think 8 to 10 full-time positions once we're up and running. That's sales, marketing, maintenance. The other point is, I pointed out, this community, like many of ours, has no increase needs or services from the town. These are all roads that are built and owned by us, maintained by us, the sidewalks. So we have slip fall liability insurance and maintenance. That's no increase to the town. And that's fine. That's what we prefer. But I want to point out this in more of a broad discussion point on the positives. We are all for the affordable housing. We need it. I think we've had maybe up to 200 units since this was approved between Keene, Lake Placid, and the one that's pending completion in Saranac Lake. There's more that are in discussion. The difference there is that those communities benefit from 100% affordable housing. Ours is more what I'm classifying as a mixed income. And we have the burden and the responsibility to carry that both from a leasing management. How do we communicate with the town? And Emily was gracious enough, she explained some of it. With enforcement, if someone goes over the 120%, what do we do? Do we come to Darcy for enforcement? How do we evict? Are we in trouble? We didn't know these things. But the 100% affordable housing offerings have great benefits from funding. Very low interest rates with federal and state funding from 2 to 5%. We are still at 8.5 to 9%. Those developers have no personal guarantees. I have to personally guarantee this. So we have a certain burden to carry to fulfill the community's needs, but we don't have any financial benefit from the lenders, which is where we're hitting this rock and a hard place with what are basically they perceive as rent control over our rental product, our offering. So if you can do anything, evaluate it. I greatly appreciate it.
And some of the things that Joe and I also talked about is, what are other potentials? Like instead of one is we can agree to what Joe offered. The other one is, we talked about if he would be willing to have a nonprofit partner come in and manage, but he would still have to pay the nonprofit partner to manage the 27 affordable units. But at least he wouldn't be dealing with that headache, and the banks have been saying, do you know how to manage this type of housing?
And you admit it's a headache.
Yeah, I have a nonprofit that will do it reluctantly.
Okay.
So, but so that was one option that I gave to Joe, like, because he's very much worried about the management of the units. So I said, you know, you could find a housing nonprofit to partner with, but you would have to pay them. But they're a nonprofit, so there it's you know, it's a marginal expense.
Right.
Let's see, what else did we talk about? Upping the payment.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I mentioned was, at which Joe, just to throw it out there, was that he could donate a piece of the land. And so he doesn't think that would work, but I did throw that out there, like if you chopped off a piece, an acre or two, and gave it to a nonprofit developer to develop, then there's no cash donation, but there's a donation of land and the
Right.
value of the land.
Right.
So those are some of the things that I was thinking about when I was talking with Joe.
And very creative. I'm saying right, saying I understand, but.
I know you don't agree. I know. I know what you mean by right.
We're just trying to build something nice. And it is market driven. The costs are so enormous. The numbers don't work with what we have to do on the 10%. Believe it or not, it's just, that's just the way the numbers are working out. The other possibility, because of the size and scale, could you consider going from 10% down to something lower than 27 units? Maybe we can live with 120%. Could you get rid of the 150? At least then the lenders are not looking at, you've got a rent control offering. This doesn't work. We're not going to lend on it.
Yeah, so we did run the numbers on what the rent would be for 150. If you remember, so 10% are controlled by who can live there. This all sounds familiar, right? It's like 10% are controlled by who can live there, income qualifications, and also what the rent is capped at, and that's 120. The remainder of the apartments are only capped by income. I'm sorry, only capped by rent and not by income. So you could essentially have, you know, a multi-millionaire in there. They just can't pay more than 150% of AMI rent.
Right.
So
That's
the
correct.
rent is capped, but not the income, with the idea being that it would be market driven. So we're just protecting the rent value and not actually who's living there.
Mhm.
So we ran the numbers on what 130, like if you took 120% of AMI at 30% for housing affordability, and it was 3,400.
3,400.
We still have a little bit more research to do. We have to back out utilities, so maybe that drops down to 3,000 when you have to
Mhm.
factor in electric and heat.
Mhm.
But at that rate, it doesn't even seem like it'd be affordable to your average person as a rental. So do we, one option that would help Joe out is if we got rid of the 150.
Right.
So that's another thing that's on the table with financing. And I said, so what I put my pushback to Joe was like, well, if you can't even charge that much money, then what does it matter? And understanding his point is like the banks care that it's there, that there's that 150%.
It's considered a restriction.
Yeah.
So lending is not easy since COVID hit. Again, I've already summarized the equity needed by a sponsor or developer has really increased tremendously. So all of those things that I've summarized has been a hindrance. And we're dedicated, devoted to build this. We're residents here. We know what's needed. We have changed and softened the model. We were too heavy on the apartments. We thought that was going to work, given that we had Green Bank funding. But when that fell through, then the banks, even with the study that was done by Camoin, they just said, look, you got to prove to us. And they look at the demographics. And I'm an ambassador, as you know, for Lake Placid, being here for 41 years. I have to sell Lake Placid. And when they say, well, Village only has 2,000 people, the surrounding area only has, how is this going to work? So I have to get them through that. And then we get into the next bit of challenges. So I talk about absorption. We're going to go slow. We test the market. We do offer the Camoin report, which has been a help. But again, we don't have a big population base. So, and a project this size, either we scale it back, which is what we've done, and then three offering approach, which will soften it, and allow us to do multiple at the same time will then help. Also, the last point, the lenders are not all the same on the three offerings. You would have an apartment lender, you would have townhome or condo. Most of the time in condo, they want us to do a pre-sales of at least 40% to make sure that the market is there, which we haven't done yet, but we're not, it's just not one lender, fits the whole project. So that's it. If you can just evaluate this and we can certainly come to the next meeting. And we'd appreciate it.
The next steps will be, once Derek gets back, which will be next week.
Okay.
We'll set up some sort of schedule together and let you
Right.
know what
Right.
is. I
Right.
know you don't want to sit on this too long, so.
Ivan, are you gonna say
Do we
anything?
have any engineering questions?
No. I think I told you today, Ivan
I had
had to
a-
come.
I had a
Said,
big-
"Don't bring
I had a
it."
big presentation in my head.
Leave
and
Ivan
Joe
at
beat
home.
me to it.
So the meter's not running.
Good, that's, he needs miles on the car.
It's something, so I can.
The meter's not running
I
unless somebody asks a
justified
question.
that.
We won't ask.
Thank you.
So it's on village business.
All I have to say.
That's right.
Is that.
Yeah.
That's a good
the
idea.
planner-
Yeah.
I'm the planner and the engineer and Joe is my client and I worked with Joe for many years. And I know Joe is very committed on this project. He spent few $1 million already. And he would like to make this happen. So he's trying very hard to do this and to change what Joe is proposing for a more diverse community, which there is more ownership. It will be a better project for the location itself and also for like Bassett and town.
Okay, very good.
Great. Thank you very much
for your time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
I have a extra copy.
I can take for Derek's.
Before that.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. All right, moving on to old business, text alert system, we discussed that last time, this is the village already has this in place, and we thought we could piggyback on with them, it's for alerts such as flood alerts, road closures, that type of thing. Met with Mindy, she's checking in to see if we can in fact legally piggyback on with them. Our cost would be around $3,000 a year for that service. Saranac Lake Townhouse, the entrance door, Derek brought up. Terry went over, took some pictures of it, and he's going to discuss with Derek his findings when he gets back. DMV office is pending, and the employee comp policy will table that until the workshop, so we can get the department head's opinion on that policy.
I have zero interest in slowing the meeting down, but the DMV office, are we moving away from?
No, we're waiting for a response from Essex County.
Because you told them, or Derek
Derek,
asked them to leave.
correct, yeah, to vacate since they aren't using it.
Okay, he's waiting for a response for that
Yes,
request?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
so it's a race whether the contract will be up or a response.
Or they answered.
New business, Camp Placid residency, Jeremy. Come on up.
So we've had the application out for Camp Placid since just before May 1st. And we've had some parents of or residents of Wilmington express concern that they were not they were told as part of the regulations that we have in place for people that reside in North Elba who work in North Elba would be the ones that could attend or have access to Camp Placid.
Live and work. So
What's that? Live and work. Yep.
But so they could
Right.
live in J.
They could, right.
But they're.
But sorry, it's or.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
Same
Tomato,
guidelines
tomato.
as the daycare,
Yeah,
right?
it matters.
Clarification.
Yeah, it matters. And so we, if we assess that.
And. so-
Yeah, it is.
Well, that's true.
It's not even a question.
Right, so that's assessed by looking at the application, what the families are providing for house of residence, address, and or what the parents are, where they're working. Because that's in the application itself. So we've had some families who have had access to this from Wilmington in previous years. So as previous Park District administration had allowed that. I don't have any records that indicate the number of people that had affected previously. I don't have any of that data. But I think right now we've had, I think 3 now. And I believe Emily had a visit from the town supervisor from Wilmington who also expressed concern, and from their perspective was a change in policy, but I think it's just enacting the rules that have actually following the rules that were in place. So
I can see there's some confusion because Wilmington is in the Lake Placid School District. So
But they do not pay Park District.
But they do not.
But have we talked with the supervisor? Do you say if they want to fund?
Yeah,
say, we
he's a
break it down per-
favor was, I have no problems with favor, but he was genuinely upset. And felt like Wilmington was getting shafted on Camp Placid. And so he knew that this was coming up for discussion. And I said the 2 ideas that I had thrown around in my head and to ask Jeremy or Adrian about was one, and I had a couple conversations with Tim Seymour too. One option would be if we have 120 slots, we fill everyone from like North Elba residents get served first. And then if we have anything left over, then we would allow Wilmington to come in there.
Like a waiting list.
Like, yes, but I think in my interpretation with favor is that he does not want Wilmington being treated differently. And I understand his perspective of like that you're waitlisting them.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, what about a fee for service? You know, like you pay us per camper. And he said that they would be happy to discuss that.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay.
That works.
Yeah. With that said, what are our numbers right now and what's?
yeah, so I think
Vacancy.
Adrian's online here too, and she said it earlier today. I think 56. Does that sound correct, Adrian?
You sent an email out by the numbers.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was.
but we've had a couple more.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, only too well.
Oh, thanks. Here, hold on. Trying to get my video here. There we go. Hi, we have, as of this afternoon, we have 65 and they're rapidly coming in. We're getting quite a few every day.
And what's our capacity with the
Well,
counselors we have?
About 120. Well, technically it's a 1-to-12 ratio. But if we want to allow for a lower ratio to do day trips, then that reduces that number a little bit. So I would say about 120, 125.
Yeah, and I think when we get into, and we're having a meeting with Alicia next week to look at what she's planning for day activities and things like that, because that's what can fluctuate the number, what the ratio is of counselor to camper. So we're looking at what those plans are, but I'm always leery about going all the way to the max because we're talking about supervision of minors. And while DOH might be happy with and believe 1-to-12 is okay, I think that's, I think we should err on the side. Yeah, we should err on the side of more supervision. So I feel more comfortable with like a 1-to-10.
Yeah, and that's not stagnant if we do not get any more counselors that apply. We did get 1 additional today, so we might be able to increase that to another dozen.
Yeah.
And we did budget for 16 counselors, which seems insane, but we did budget for 16 counselors.
Right, and
we
I
have
think
11,
because
12.
yeah, because I think at least history from last year was that we had 180 applications. Broadly speaking, which obviously included some Wilmington residents as well. And so I think in the past, it was always just, we're going to push the counselor level as high as it can go and not necessarily look at the function of what the programming is versus just getting bodies in the door.
Do we have a number of current out of town, either working or residing?
Yeah, I think it was the Wilmington one. I think it was 3, I think is what you said, Adrian, the other day. Was it right? 3 or 4?
3 or 4 right now.
Okay. And just for clarity, the town funds this 100%, and that's why we're looking at restricting it as we are.
Correct.
That's correct.
And also Wilmington is also trying to start their own program, and I don't know if they're only starting their own program in reaction to this policy, or if they were already starting their own program. I didn't ask favor that. But it's a tough lift, as these guys know, of trying to get a youth program up and running from a town perspective. And so I think they're struggling right now. And it would only be a 3-day program. It's basically just to offer some relief to parents, to be able to work a little bit or get a little bit of stuff done and have, and also for the kids to be able to enjoy their summer and have outdoor activities. So the one thing that I'm fine with the fee. I don't know how we determine the fee. Like if we actually just like take our budget and then divide by the campers, and then that's a number, and then we multiply. Yeah, and then we take that number and multiply by how many kids live in Wilmington, but in the Lake Placid School District. And I would also say that we are limiting it to Wilmington residents within the Lake Placid School District. So there still is that caveat.
I still would, I appreciate favor and the residents of Wilmington, but I would dislike to block out a family, especially a working, residing family, and that couldn't attend because of but that's why I asked the numbers. If it's 1 or 2, then that's fine. But I'm wondering if we open those doors, will we get?
And I did ask favor for that number.
Okay.
And so that was yesterday. I heard back from him. I said, how many do you think it is? And he didn't know, but he said he was happy to find that number.
Because what I don't know is had the people previously, was it just a word of mouth thing versus now we're publicizing this as an opportunity, and so it becomes a floodgate issue, and then we're gonna have a problem.
Through Wilmington?
I mean, just to speak on the floodgate part. We are cutting off applications on June 2nd, so we have time to process and have the nurse evaluate all the forms. So regardless of the floodgates, we still would, I would think, have that cutoff date.
But when I say by floodgates, when you only have 115 or 120 spots, 5, 10, 12 could be a big number, and that easily could come in. And we do have some decisions that will be coming up when we do get final application numbers in, because I think most families, a vast majority of them, have indicated that they would send their child for the entirety of the program. But we do have a couple that we're looking for just 1 or 2 weeks, which, we would take somebody that could say that their child's gonna be there, more full time.
You look at those numbers, it almost looks like a bell curve.
Yeah.
But generally,
No doubt about that. Yeah, that's a good point with if you're gonna be there the whole time, yes.
Right,
Yes. So what are you looking for?
You want a couple, like 2 weeks.
Right. So what we're looking for is just some direction from the board on which way to go, whether or not we should accept the applications or not. Is it a fee structure that we want to place back to Wilmington? However it is, we can enact that. We need some direction.
We also don't have anything formal from the town of Wilmington that says they will repay.
Right.
For the numbers.
Right.
So
This is an important conversation because the town is paid for this, and come next year's budget time, it's going to be an item to be evaluated, so.
Well, we're not even done. We're gonna ask for more money too.
We haven't
Because
even
activities that we want to do and we have no funding for it right now.
Right.
you have plenty of time to rethink that one.
So the budget as it stands right now is mostly personnel and just a little bit of money for supplies and stuff. Yeah. And, so if we're, and while we already have a lot of ideas of things that do not charge, there are a couple of opportunities that we will be evaluating with Alicia next week that might require some funds.
Okay.
And so we'll come back with what we think that may be. We're not talking tens of thousands, we're talking a few $1,000s, but we can discuss that at the next meeting.
Okay.
That would also increase the amount that we would ask for Wilmington though, too, if we're gonna pay for their residents to accompany these trips, so.
And the trap we don't want to get sucked into is other communities. If you can
Well, that's why. the
Send
school
your
district-
kids to
that's
the
the
other
district thing
communities.
Is the key.
Right.
I think that's the thing
Yeah.
that binds
Right.
Wilmington. South
And I,
Dakota.
when Adrian and I were talking, Jeremy, we were talking about this, I was like, we did this before. And so I went and Kathy delved through the records and I'm like, look for Village of Saranac Lake, because we had a similar situation where it was Saranac Lake School District students in Saranac Lake who wanted to go to the Saranac Lake program. We couldn't, you would remember this, maybe you weren't on the board, and we gave them money.
Yes.
Because it was exact same situation as what's going on with Wilmington. And we couldn't find it, and then we found it under town of Harrietstown, because it's not the Village of Saranac Lake that runs the program, it's town of Harrietstown. So we used to give to the town of Harrietstown $5,500 a summer for them to do the exact same thing that we would do for Wilmington. So if that's a price point to be
Less
looking at,
expensive.
yeah. And if that was so Harrietstown has not run a program since 21-ish. I think the last time we paid them was 20 or
Yeah, it's
21.
been-
So,
So you're saying there's an opportunity for Jeremy to really grow this?
now Saranac Lake has the YMCA, that's why the town kind of faded away.
Yeah.
But the YMCA is a paid program, like but the YMCA is not asking us for money because you have to pay to go. It's not like the town taxpayers are underwriting it.
Yeah.
So that's also, I don't think there was ever a student, like a camper number. It was just like, that's what we gave them. It wasn't like based on 5 students or 10 students. It was just the number.
Is your thinking, maybe that's what the conversation would favor is put up
A price.
a
not
price as opposed to her.
It may- but-
Her or just,
Maybe it's not,
it might be 3 kids, it might be 5.
Right.
It could be 3 kids this year, but next year it could be 20.
yeah.
Right.
I think we need to come up with
A price.
a
per student.
price, including, we know the budget. Your guys want to, anticipated asks.
Yeah.
And come up with a per student,
Yeah.
per camper.
Yeah, and I think
price.
there's a number of formulas, right? And we were talking about some different, I think there's different ways to come up with that. But so you just want to do it in a way that's as fair and equitable as
Well, that's the
possible.
thing.
Right.
Yes.
So I guess to wrap this up, we'll wait to hear back. You're gonna wait to hear back from Favor and let us all know what the count is and if they're willing to pay.
Yeah, and Adrian and I can look at the budget and see if we can find an equitable way of assessing that for each per camper.
Yes.
So that when Favor does come back and says, yes, we are open to that, we'd have at least an idea or a path for discussion.
Yeah, because I think it's like us paying a set amount in the past to Saranac Lake. I'd rather come up with a solid figure, whatever,
Right.
Whatever, 50 cents or, you know what I mean?
Right, sure.
Based on a break-even amount.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right.
You don't want to profit off them?
Not right now.
Yeah, I'll just say,
We'll see what kind of number it comes.
I mean, I do just want to say too, and I appreciate Adrian in this response, right? Because we do have individual families. I'm glad that Favor at least had expressed his concern and had the conversation with you, Emily, but we're also fielding the calls from the parents. And it's helpful to be able to say that we're examining this and working to try to come up with something. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, we'd like to make it happen, but it's numbers too.
Yep.
Not only dollars, it's numbers.
Right, yeah, for sure.
Great.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Next up is the seeker. Now this needs a vote.
Oh my gosh, so I am fully unprepared for this. I haven't even looked at the document because I forgot to tell you guys.
Here, it's short.
I wanted you to be prepared. This DOS, that's our funding source for the comp plan. They have to approve this before we can vote on it.
Okay.
And I found this out yesterday.
So we'll table.
So I'm so glad
Table
you
the
did your
secret.
research. I did not.
Yep.
So your homework,
Yeah.
you're prepared.
Yep.
Ask questions now. So,
Do you want to move, approve it based on
no,
New York State, or you want to do this?
I haven't even read it.
We'll wait.
Oh, that,
Table.
fair enough. Thank you for your honesty.
Okay, discussion, airport lease discussion. You're all in, you have the copy of the email, I believe that Derek sent Bob Zidane email. Requesting, it came on May 8th, that requesting an opt-out from the rent due to the runway construction. Derek wanted to just have a discussion on it and what we thought about it. Any Anybody wanna,
How long is the runway down?
approximately 6 weeks.
How many planes come in?
Well, I'll start it off by saying my first thought was the email quoted losing thousands of dollars.
Oh, I
Oh,
didn't
very,
get it.
very specific.
Yeah.
Thousands of dollars.
Thousands of dollars.
I didn't get far in the email either.
So
I got Kathy's response.
therefore,
That's the one I wanted.
right, the Kathy's response was that in the past, when this takes place, and this is not something we just threw at these
Yeah,
people,
it's
they
very
knew
much
about
right.
it before they even signed the contract, that, you know, the runway needed refurbishing, and we chose this time of year because of the traffic,
Or the lack thereof.
the lack thereof. So if we were to really stretch this, I'd say, present to us where last year, at this exact time, your thousands of dollars that you had an income. And we'll consider something, but I don't believe there's much traffic. There's hardly any auto traffic, let alone airplane.
Yeah, I mean, the number one, Kathy's response, I'm going by
Right,
historical. Historically, and I mean, 6 weeks is not a small amount of time, but it's not a large amount of time.
Yeah.
And any upgrades to the airport in any way is going to benefit them.
Correct.
So I'm opposed to giving them any relief.
Plus the fact that you'll hear when we do a resolution on the airport, the town is putting in significant amount of money into this as well. It's just not all federal and state. So we're into the $115,000. So
because theoretically, I mean, I'll be a little bit cliche here, you know, we're partners in this.
Right.
And, you know, so they can do their part also.
And I guess I agree with Dick. Historically, we haven't done it, but it would be, I would say, advantageous for them to produce some sort of documentation stating, you know, justifying some relief. I guess at that point, a legitimate conversation about it.
Yeah, yeah, that, as you said, yes, because we're not gonna take, as we've said, well, nobody said it, but we're not gonna take an email that says thousands of dollars. You know, that's not even appropriate to me.
So we're gonna send that request.
Yes.
Filter through Derek, say, hey.
Yeah,
will do. Let's see, next up, Porta Johns.
okay, that's a broad topic, you'll see what I mean in a minute. It starts off with the rail trail, and it's not the Porta Johns on the rail trail. Right now, there's quite, the whole rail trail, there's quite a garbage problem. And ARDA and the DEC are having problems getting together about what they want to do. There's a gentleman in town who supposedly has the contract to pick up the garbage. And I've been contacting with him every few days, and he was supposed to start picking up the garbage
But
3
there's
weeks
no
ago.
trash receptacles.
That's the point. That's where we're going with it. Okay. And this young gentleman, he has talked to, he's dealing with ARDA. And they're telling him, we will contract with you to pick up the garbage.
Like go and pick up the garbage on the ground because there's no trash recycling.
No.
Out of
To
receptacles.
pick up the garbage, okay? We'll start off with that. But ARDA cannot get an answer out of DEC. DEC previously indicated they may want bear-proof receptacles. Okay, this is a longer story that I'll condense. And
We got time, don't worry.
oh, yeah. First of all, bear-proof receptacles are minimum $1,400 each. So whoever put in the receptacles at Fowler's Crossing.
DEC.
DEC, okay, I thought so. They're not bear-proof. They're permanently, they're
In
on
the
the pedestal.
parking lot.
Yeah.
Just to clarify.
Yeah,
Not
they're
on the
in,
trail.
they're next to where the Porta Johns go and the bench there. And they are on a pedestal, but they're just the, you know, like the red fencing around it with a receptacle in it, nothing close to bear-proof. Okay, and they put those in. The village has one at the train station parking lot with just regular, not even in the ground, but the same type of thing. So this gentleman that supposedly would get the contract, but he's waiting, he sent them multiple contracts and they haven't signed it because they can't get any answers from the DEC. And he won't buy the bear-proof receptacles.
No.
And no way. Well, so we're kind of waiting on that. I was ready to bring you something and say, well, what about if we buy the regular, there are 4 locations in North Elmo. Not in the village. And if we buy just trash receptacles at each Porta-John location, $400 a piece, we'll go from there. But I can't even bring that to you because nobody can get answers out of DEC.
And just to elaborate on that, Emily can get the answers. It's her term at the next rail trail meeting, but the ARDA has reported that they have funds for porta potties and garbage. Therefore, I think we can step back unless we notice the trail getting really trashed. And
Well, that's the thing. If we talking to my granddaughter, they aren't bad yet, but they will get bad at each of the locations. And obviously, we're just talking about North Elba. We're not,
correct.
But does this go back to the whole thing where they don't have the, like, if people put trash in the porta potty, then they have to take the trash out of the porta potty and throw it on the ground?
Yeah, because they don't have a permit, DEC permit to pick it up. No, it really either. Yeah, and that's what they're doing. My big thing is, slight tangent is, we as hikers have been taught for many years.
To carry out.
Yeah, bring it in, carry it out, pack it in,
I
pack it
would
out.
never expect on the rail trail to find a trash can. I mean, that's just my personal
But
opinion.
there was trash, particularly the height of the season, the thing is, what they do is, some of them, probably 50-50. If they've got trash, they throw it in the Porta-John, the other 50% is thrown in the tank. So that obviously makes it even worse. You can't pick it up, and so they're trying to suck up what they can. But that's there. So we're just kind of, I gave you some information. We're still waiting. Like I said, he was supposed to start, I think 2.5 weeks ago, to start picking up garbage, and he doesn't have any guidance at all. The guy that supposedly will have the contract. It's kind of ridiculous. The other part of the Porta-John is River Road and Copper Pond. Do we want to do that again?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell Jeremy, but again, now he'll put them on the next few days through Columbus Day. And I already talked to, Jeremy's gone, I already talked to Jeremy about putting out trash receptacles there, and he'll have the Park District guys pick them.
Oh, really? Very nice.
Yeah, so, I don't know what, we may have to get some nicer trash receptacles or whatever, because River Road, I'm not too sure about, that's not that bad, but the one at Copper's Pond, it's garbage all over.
I just think that there's a danger to putting out trash receptacles, because then, like, I understand the issue about, I mean, I don't understand, it's dumb. That you can't.
Yeah, you're right.
But I understand what you were telling me.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think it's stupid about them having to pull out the trash and leave it on the ground. But once you put a trash can there, you're gonna have people who like actually put trash in it. Do you know, like, so it's
Like
gonna be
household
full.
trash.
Yeah, so it's gonna be full, even not even household trash, but like, let's say all of a sudden, instead of I'm there and I have like tons of like snack wrappers in my bag, I'm gonna actually use the trash instead of carrying it out.
Well, those are just snack wrappers, but I see where like people have like 10 people having those like little plastic bags that they shouldn't.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I think that you're gonna be shocked at how often that has to be empty.
Oh, I know, no,
Do we put up we have a sign where it says,
you think that's
bring it
gonna
in, bring it out? I don't know. I'm just,
No, it's because of the one at Copper's Pond, the trailhead, it's just, I mean.
it's a very busy place.
Well, 3/4 of the people that are gonna stop and use the Porta-John have nothing to do with the trailhead.
Right.
They're coming through the notch and they're going like, ooh.
Well, there's signs that actually point them to it.
Should we?
That one too, yes, there is. I was thinking 18 if there are.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Should we just, what do you think about just trying it out for at least a year, and if it turns out to be, or at least this season, or if it turns out to be a mess, then we can.
Yeah, then we can, whatever, that's fine. Yeah, okay, I'll tell Jeremy that.
And Jeremy's okay with picking that up,
The
Park District staff?
Oh, the garbage?
Other Jeremy.
Yes.
Oh, other Jeremy, yeah, I talked to him. I was gonna say, tell him good. Yeah, I already talked to him.
Okay.
Jeremy Freeman, I already talked to him
I was very
a
confused.
couple weeks ago, yeah.
I need Jeremy to take on more work, as Jeremy.
You know, he takes out, yeah.
And he told me no.
He did it with a smile. I'm just saying.
I'm not demanding.
Anything more on Porta-John?
No, I think that's it. So we'll probably hopefully we won't have, you're right, they did get some money.
Right.
But whatever.
Are they gonna be a nicer receptacle like the one up?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm gonna talk to Jeremy.
Because we don't want a plastic bin like Sullivan.
No. I think if we can get something that is, even if we gotta buy something that's $400 or $500.
We can
you know,
put families represent.
Yeah, when she goes by,
Yeah.
to and from Wilmington, I'm gonna stop and throw shit in there.
Next, we'll have to get cameras so we can see.
Exactly, yep.
It's never ending.
Lake Patrol. Last year we did May 30th through September 15th, if the records are correct. What is everybody thinking this year for Lake Patrol, hours per week? I believe Derek said he has not heard from
Yeah, that's not even.
the employee from last year.
And you're coming, okay.
No, so he was wondering, should we reach out? What are some thoughts on the Lake Patrol?
I think reaching out to who had done it previously, because the flexibility of his schedule
Yeah,
worked
sure.
well.
Yeah, I think
that's still.
I think the
Yeah.
last 2 years it's worked very well.
There was
Do we-
And very
What was
enthusiastic
the
about it.
feedback? I know there was one minor sort of negative feedback, but most of it was positive, yes.
Yeah, people appreciate him being out there, but I think the complaints are that they want him to do more.
Yes.
Right.
And not
Which
just
is
like.
not
help.
necessarily.
Which he cannot,
Cannot,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
He's just there to remind people to wear life jackets.
yeah, he's there for educational purposes and that's it. And, you know, I mean, unless we come up with a constable.
And as a reminder, we don't even have to supply that.
No,
It's
no.
a service that we're
No.
providing.
So we get one of those.
No, I say reach out.
Right fit, North
Okay.
Alba.
Same hours as last.
It worked out pretty well.
Okay.
You know, and I mean, last year we kind of left it up to him. He took his feedback from the
Right.
first year and said, hey.
He looked at the traffic patterns.
Yeah, I mean, very conscientious about doing it.
Okay. I will pass that along. Personnel actions, you have youth commission appointment. I will carry that forward to the resolutions and action items because it indeed needs to be a resolution for Essex County.
That's why it's on there? I was
Yes.
wondering, I didn't get to that email.
Yeah.
Was that what Adrian sent just like an hour ago?
Correct.
Okay.
No more than an hour, but we can go with that.
Yeah, the basically it's Essex County looking for a youth commission chair and an alternate.
Oh,
I guess it's been Butch in the past. Last year it was not filled. So they would like that filled. So the first meeting, I believe, is on the 21st, if I recall my aging memory. But anyhow, there's a meeting coming up, so,
Next Thursday is the meeting at 5 in Elizabethtown.
okay.
Wait, what is it? I was
Youth,
thinking-
it's a
First, and
countywide.
Isn't this what Jason and I do?
Yeah, I think we're kind of liaisons or something.
Jason and I serve on.
Your liaisons for the youth commission, right?
Yeah.
For the
This is.
Camp
this is
Plaza.
like-
No, we are with D Elcott from the county. We already do that.
is that on our organizational meeting? I didn't see it in there.
No, actually, yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is, because that's how I know I do it.
Yeah, that's it.
See, I thought you were appointed as liaisons from the board to Camp Placid.
Camp Placid is like, that's not even a
That's
committee.
internal.
Yeah, that's not even a committee anymore.
Okay,
But who wants to do it, Jeremy?
Jeremy.
Oh, go ahead.
Yes.
He said that-
You're very good, isn't it? Yes.
Jason's not saying anything.
No, because we attended Zoom meetings before and that's how we learned about some of the funding. So there for grants and whatnot.
I didn't see Zoom as an option. Did you, Adrian?
I did not, but Jeremy did agree to do it and he volunteered me as the alternate.
Oh, perfect.
Have at
He
it.
likes driving to Elizabethtown.
I used to do it all the time, every day.
Seen it.
While your mic is live, tell us about the SHRMCP.
Oh, yeah, that is the course that we talked about at workshop, the human resource course.
Oh, okay. That there
We
was,
just, Kathy wanted to vote on to actually move forward with that.
yes, because it would be a budget adjustment.
Yes.
Felt that we should just get consensus. We don't
That's-
necessarily need to vote on it per se, but that would probably
It's a budget
solidify it.
adjustment.
What's that?
It would be a budget adjustment.
Right. So that,
Kathy did want an actual vote before we moved forward with that.
Well, we would just get a consensus of the budget adjustment. And then we vote on the budget adjustment that we do all the time, and that would be part of it.
I think that's one way, but I don't know if that's what Kathy was thinking, is that take official action to.
Wow. She's worried about other things than money. So just, right, Kathy? You can speak for yourself.
Oh, is she on? Then she can answer.
You want to vote on this, Kathy, or you just want a consensus?
Because we couldn't officially do it at the workshop.
Kathy, can you hear me?
Lost it.
In the bathroom.
Because yes, by June 4th, I would have to sign up for the class, and then the exam is in December.
All right, well, let's just make a motion and take a vote on it, and that way we're safe, we're covered.
Okay.
A motion to approve Adrian attending the SHRM CP course.
So moved.
Thanks, Dick. Second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Jason. Any discussion, further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Onboarding policy is the next item. That is pending. I sent it out to you all just recently, stating that it would not be reviewed. And it did go out to Kathy as well, so we'll get feedback on that and then move that forward.
Fantastic.
Under resolutions and actions.
I'm gonna approve the personal actions that she had sent to you.
Oh, yes, thank you.
I'm back on, I'm sorry.
Okay. We just went ahead and voted on Adrian's course, just.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll sign her up and pay for the invoice or do a purchase order, and that will be in June's board meetings budget adjustments.
Right, okay. Very good. Personnel actions, we do have Kathy sent out an email on the personnel. Any questions on those? They were mostly Park District. The seasonal workers for Craigwood, one Black Fly Tech. Beautification, that's a reappointment of Stephanie.
Yeah.
And then Trent and Jim Grant as the head lifeguard. Any questions on those? If not, may I have a motion to approve the personnel action items? Thank you, Emily. Second?
Second.
People are slow tonight. You wore down?
No, normally Derek picks up on it. We don't, raise our hand. He usually gets it. So I don't know what.
I'll have to look, I'll have to scan. Okay. Any other discussion on this? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Next up will be the Youth Commission. Chair and alternate. The resolution reads, whereas the town of North Elba recognizes the importance of supporting programs and services that benefit youth, the community. Youth Commission plays a vital role in advising, planning, and coordinating youth-related activities within the county and town. Therefore, be it resolved that the town board and the town of North Elba hereby appoints Jeremy Freeman as the chairperson of the Youth Commission, effective immediately. And be it further resolved that Adrian Rollier is appointed as the alternate to the chair, serving as assistant in the duties of chair as needed in the absence of the chair. Resolution will take effect immediately. May I have a motion to accept, please?
Wait, sorry, this is the county thing?
Yes.
Yes.
So it was, we were never chairs.
Right.
So this is like a bigger thing.
This is bigger. This is because most towns within the county have youth commissions. We don't. We have just like they do baseball. We have
LP,
right.
We have
youth athletic. But most towns, let's take Elizabethtown, they do baseball, they do soccer, they do Camp Placid, Camp Elizabethtown, what have you. So it's a bigger thing than it is here.
Okay.
but
they
They
don't
asked a representative from every single town in the county.
every single town in the county, in Essex County.
But we're one of the unique municipalities that has independent organizations running those.
Correct.
Different sports.
And it's funding. We don't fund, well, indirectly, we fund, you know, the youth athletic, but not wholly.
Okay.
So.
So then we should be asking more money.
The reason why Jason and I or why we were most interested is because there was funding. And so we were trying to get LPYAA to ask for the funding.
Yes.
Through the town, if needed through the town of North Elba.
Okay.
But
We'll
we'll just ask Jeremy to do that now.
He seems efficient.
Yeah, he's good.
Motion?
So
Dick?
moved.
Second?
Second.
Thanks, Jason.
Just raise your hand.
I don't think Jeremy officially accepts anything. But that's high five though.
Discussion.
This doesn't come with any sort of stipend or anything, right? It's additional responsibility.
Yeah, we're missing out here.
You don't even get gas mileage to and from Elizabeth now. I'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next resolution is the airport state matching grants, and there are two of these. Let's see. Town of North Elba authorizing the State Department of Transportation grants contract number K 007614 for the Lake Placid Airport. I, Rick Preston, Town of North Elba, do certify accepting the grant agreement from the New York State Department of Transportation. Listed below, the contract PIN is 1904.80. And the estimated cost, this is for reconstruction of the existing runway 14/32, edge lighting, design reconstruction 8 of the existing runway 14/32 airfield guidance signs. Estimated cost is $162,750. The federal government will be, their share is $146,475. Local share and state share are equal at $8,137.
Does anyone confirm that the funding's still available? The federal?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Do you need a motion?
I'll need a motion for that.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Emily. Second. Dick? Any more discussion on this? Okay, all in favor? Do we need a roll call this or no? It's not on.
No,
here.
you need a roll call for the RFQ.
For the
RFQ.
The Roussillon?
Roussillon Engineering? Okay. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution passes. The second airport is regarding to the rehabilitation of 4,196 feet of existing runway 14/32. Those are the compass readings, by the way. Pavement including associated remarks. So this reads the Town of North Elba authorizing New York State Department of Transportation grants contract number K 007614 for the Lake Placid Airport are noted below. I, Rick Preston, Town of North Elba, do certify and accept the grant agreements with the New York State Department of Transportation for the previously mentioned work. The estimated cost is $2,029,715. I'm sorry, that's the federal share is $2,029,715. The local share and the state share, which are equal, are $101,486. May I have a motion to approve the rehabilitation of the runway?
So moved.
Thank you, Jason. Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great. All right, this is a RFQ to bid for Roussillon Sewer System. Resolution authorizing the town board to solicit requests for qualifications for professional engineering services to complete in the Town of North Elba Roussillon Sewer System Improvement Project. Whereas the town of North Alba has received NYSDEC Water Quality Improvement Grant for the improvement of the Rougemont sewer system, and whereas the town of North Alba is required to solicit an RFQ for professional engineering services to prepare engineering plans and specifications for the project pursuant to the requirements of New York State Department of Environmental Conservation WQIP grant requirements. Whereas the town of North Alba seeks to secure additional grant funds for the project and includes grant funding assistance as part of the solicited engineering service RFQ. Now and therefore be it resolved that the town of North Alba, acting as the WQIP grant recipient, authorizes the executive coordinator for this town supervisor to solicit competitive bids from professional engineering firms for the completion of the project. Whereupon the resolution was put to vote, the records as follows. May I have a motion to accept this resolution?
So moved.
And seconded?
A second.
Okay, so we need a roll call for this?
Mhm.
Okay. Jason?
Aye.
Dick?
Aye.
Emily?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. And lastly, under the action items and resolutions, we have a request from Bryce Stanton, request a private road named Stanton Way for a new subdivision located at 5720 Cascade Road. This is from the county, correct, Lori?
Yeah,
He has received.
That's the county and he's.
So he received E911 approval, and I spoke with Justin at the fire department, and he's okay with it. There's no other names that are close, so. So the requesting the private road be named Stanton Way, as I said.
It's just surprising that it was available with all the stands.
May I get a motion to approve this request?
So moved.
Thank you, Dick. Second.
Second. Second.
Good. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Motion passes unanimously. Committee reports. Anybody have anything?
Well, Katie went over the childcare committee. She went over most of it, but there seems to be, it's opening. They're ready. They've collected. We've got the majority of the funding. We're still designing fundraising to get into the subsidization phase of the slots, but they've had 55 applications for 22 spots. So,
oh, great.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Okay.
And we're meeting again with Callie on Friday for some direction for
Yeah.
fundraising.
Gotcha.
Brooks.
Anybody else?
I don't think so.
Okay. Budget adjustments, Kathy had sent out the budget adjustments. They were in your packet or on a separate email, I'm sorry. Any questions on those? If not, may I have a motion to accept these amendments?
So moved.
Thanks, Dick.
Second.
Thank you, Jason. Any?
This is the adjustments and audits?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry. Audits have been signed, so
Okay.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. I don't know if I said that.
Okay, opportunity to speak. Anybody? That's for yeah. See behind this famous pillar.
Okay,
Mr. Dead.
that opportunity, thank you.
Greg, do you mind just moving, because you're kind of like moving to that seat? You're awkwardly in behind.
Yeah, now we all got you.
Hiding behind that. So thank you, good evening, my name's Greg Devon. I was involved with the process with respect to a petition concerning the agreement that your board entered into with Orta. Interestingly, I had debated for some time as to going forward, and I woke up one morning and as I expressed to you during the public hearings, I think it's a very important issue for the community and decided at the last moment that I was gonna give it a go, and surprisingly found a pretty unique group of people who rallied and we went about it and submitted the petition. I submitted the petitions. The town has responded right now with some point as to why they're objecting to the petition, and I'm now trying to decide legally how I want to deal with that, but I'm here tonight in hope that perhaps that issue would be academic. I had shared with all of you an email prior to submitting the petitions that there are options available to the board to either rescind the agreement or to vote to put it to a townwide referendum. I don't have the time and tonight I have my own personal thoughts, but I don't think this is a forum, but I will share with you that it was uplifting for me in that very short period of time to speak with people in the community who were enthusiastic about it, but also shared with me how little they know about it. And I stressed when I was circulating the petition, I didn't try to proselytize and convince somebody one way or another. I was just saying this is an opportunity for everybody in the community to have the opportunity to be heard on this important issue. And I believe it. It's 20 years. It's a lot of money. Some people would say, well, in the whole scheme of taxes, it's really not a lot, but I don't think that's the way to look at it. It's $10 million over 20 years, and that's a lot of money, and it's the future of this community. You know, I had very few people, and most of the people are circulating, very few people who wouldn't. It was interesting, I think, some of who did. And it's perhaps a concern that they were just concerned about the power of order in this community. And again, I stress to you, you're a board for the people of the town of North Elba. Board is an integral part of the community. I get it. But it's an opportunity to show some independence, and just morally and economically, it just, you know, I said I wasn't going to talk about the merits, but that $500,000 just doesn't seem appropriate. Why should we be doing that when so many other people throughout the state, the country, and the world benefit from these facilities? And why is it falling on just the backs of people of this community? And also to the Roost issue, why is Roost, as I understand it, getting a free ride on the backs of the people of this community when Roost has become a regional organization benefiting people throughout the whole country? So again, I think it's important. I appreciate you considering my thoughts. I have a strong suspicion that it's late in the game, and I know a lot of work went into it as to entering into the agreement. But please consider it. Please consider the future of the community and the opportunity to allow everybody to be heard and hopefully have more of a townwide discussion. There were public hearings, but there weren't a lot of people at those public hearings, and there wasn't the opportunity to hear from the board at those public meetings. I owe it to myself, I owe it to the people who helped me with the petition and those who signed it to try to pursue this. So thank you for your consideration of those thoughts.
The only comment that I'll make is that, as you can probably appreciate, we did seek legal advice, and then we're following their advice. So
I'm aware of that, and I'm not here in that capacity. And as I said at the outset, this is an effort to avoid that route. And I think that there are avenues available to avoid that route.
Anyone else? Yes.
Adam Wild, I'm representing the Shipman Youth Center tonight. Just wanted to bring up that we had submitted an application for the cannabis sales tax fund, which I'm assuming has probably not gone through committee yet.
No, it hasn't. I'm sorry, Adam. You just reminded me about it.
Yeah, and that's all right. Just just mentioning that we're, for those who aren't aware, that we're in the process of purchasing the property that Shipman Youth Center sits on from the school, so that ensures that the Shipman Youth Center can operate for another 25 years or more, as it has in the past, and so any funds from, or money from that fund or other sources through town that help us purchase that property is greatly appreciated.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
We will look at it in the next few days.
Great, thanks.
Anyone else?
I think I will have questions about the presentation on the affordable housing project, just because that's a huge topic on people's minds, and I think they'll be interested to hear kind of where that project is. I know it's been ongoing for a long time, so I don't know that
I would
I'll
have to
ask
agree.
about all the history now.
I'll give you Joe's cell phone number.
Yeah.
Do you have Emily's home phone number?
I think
If you don't, I can tell you,
Times.
I can tell you where she lives.
I wander around the Nuffle phone. But yeah, so I'll be in touch about that. That's probably better to ask.
Anybody else? Well, thank you. Thank you for coming and enduring. We're going to enter into executive session at this point for personnel matters, proposed discussing matters leading to medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, matters leading to the employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation. May I have a move to enter into executive session?
So moved.
Thank you, Dick.
Second.
Thank you, Jason. All in favor? All right. Unanimous?
Thanks, Kathy. Does Kathy need staff? Budget related?
No. Kathy, you all set? I didn't even ask for your input on audits and. It's the fault.
And I appreciate it, Rick. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good night.